Hey folks, welcome to week 4. Tony Caldwell here. We're talking religion reform this week. To be honest, kind of running behind. It's been a beautiful couple of days here in North Carolina, and I was out doing yard work and stuff, and hadn't really sat down to type up this week's announcement, so I thought I'd try a different route. But again, back to work. It's week 4. Religion and reform is what we're talking about this week. We've got a couple of pieces out on the site for you to look at. One by Monica Najir. I think I got that right. Don't tell her. Daniel Walker Howe also. Now, Howe focuses more on holistically what was religion and reform like in the early United States more as a whole. Najir takes more of a focused look on what was going on in the North with Baptist, that particular denomination of Protestantism, and kind of how their attempts at reform started to conflict and change the views on slavery. All of this is the preamble to getting us up to the Civil War. And I want you to think about it in that context. Don't think so much about religion and reform of this century or the last part of the last century, because we're not there yet. So as you're reading, I want to urge a couple of you to keep your focus on the materials in the context. It's really difficult to look at touchy subjects, and religion and reform can be that for some of us, and not apply our own biases and not apply today's standards. Look at the standards that were going on at the time, try to focus in on that, and draw from the materials your original ideas, see how those shape out. And if you need to discuss more current religion reform, that's fine, but do that only tangentially. The bulk should be on the earlier materials. Some of you do get the assignment this week for the annotated bibliography, and your names are posted in the week 4 discussion post. So go out, take a check on that. If you hadn't done yours already, you might get a turn this week. The thing that's due this week is a topic proposal. It's about 500 to 700 words, really brief rubric on it. Things we're asking you to do is clearly highlight the thesis. And I know that you may not have your verbatim thesis statement yet, but you should have that thesis concept down to about a paragraph at this point. And in the thesis statement, tell me what lens you're going to be using. Is it cultural, society, military, economic, that kind of thing? List out some questions that you're going to be looking at as you frame your arguments. Explain how that thesis will add to the existing historiography. And here's what the thing is. A lot of folks are going to look at it and go, oh, the historiography around it, my thesis is this. Great. Awesome. Glad you understand it. Don't regurgitate what the current historiography is. Give me enough of the historiography that I know that you know the context you're going into, and that then come back and say, okay, this is how my work is going to add to the historiography, how it's going to extend the historiography, or my work is going to support what's already been done. And make that clear and show why your version or your new take on this topic is going to be meaningful and why the current historiography is going to help you make your topic move forward. A preliminary bibliography, don't go overboard. The word preliminary kind of means getting started. So the preliminary bibliography should probably be about 6 to 9 sources. And again, you don't need the full half-page bibliography. Just a kind of a couple of paragraphs, those 6 or 7 sentences that you've been doing for the annotated bibliography works just fine. If you want to tell me why it's an interest to you, awesome, great. I think that'd be a great thing to do, but that's not one of the requirements. On the rubrics, I want you to understand that if you're hitting everything that the rubric tells you to do, that makes a proficient submission for the assignment. If you're proficient all the way down pretty much any rubric in this program, you're going to get a high B or a low A on that assignment. To move from proficient over to exemplary, you have to step it up a notch. That means you have to meet the requirement for that area of the rubric completely. That's proficient. Exemplary is you go a little bit further on it. And by further, I don't necessarily mean more pages, more words, more citations, more examples. What I mean is show a deeper understanding of the material. This week, for the historical lens on your topic submission, on that element of the rubric, the historical lens developed to show historiographical value. That's proficient. For exemplary, you have to be proficient and back it up with substantiated research to show that, hey, here's all of this part of the historiography that supports or is involved in this particular lens. I'm looking at the topic of the two-party system under Jackson through a cultural lens focused on what the common man would say or how the common man felt and how that two-party system affected the common man. So here are all the scholarly sources that support this lens. And I got it. You're not going to give me all 9,000 of them. That's not what I'm talking about. But to be able to go past just, there is a historiography, here's a couple of places where it's supported, to where it's supported in depth and how these particular portions of the historiography play to what I am going to do and make those connections really clear and really relevant and stand out. That's how you move from proficient over to exemplary. And of course, if you have any questions, my email's at the bottom of this. Just go ahead and shoot me a note. If you're Zoom capable and are really, really stuck and we can't get over that in a couple of emails, I may reach out to you through Zoom and see where we go from there. Okay? Awesome. I've got some discussion posts to get graded tonight, and I got some work from a real job to get done tonight before tomorrow morning. So, hope everybody had a great weekend and enjoyed weeks 1, 2, and 3. Week 4 looks to be fun. Next week, we've got a book review, so start reading now and picking that book out. Next week, we'll talk more about the difference between a book review and a book report and what I want to see for the book review and what I don't want to see in a book review. All right. Appreciate the time. Enjoy, folks. Take care.